of minutes for other people to come and join in. In the meanwhile, brief introduction about me. I'm Rajesh Pentagota. I am the founder of CodePup AI, which is lovable for e-commerce websites. And previously, I have worked at a couple of companies like Zynga, Flipkart, and Walmart in a product leadership position. Right. Since last 1 year, I have been a heavy user of Claude Code, and I thought some of these sessions can help a lot of you guys to onboard onto Claude Code and use it for your daily product manager tasks or your side gigs. So today's session, we're going to see hands-on of how I use front-end design skills. I think there has been a lot of changes over last couple of months on Claude. They have been shipping features at a crazy pace. Skills is one of the most important features that caught my eye, and I'm going to demo to you live in terms of how I use some of these skills to make better front-end experiences. Okay, and I will maybe keep the chat window on so that you guys can start typing in if you have any doubts. Are you guys able to type in? Is my voice audible? Can you guys type in the chat? Okay, that's great. Okay, let's get started. I think we are 3 minutes in. Great. So I don't know how many of you attended the last session, but we covered some of the basic anatomy of how a skill looks like, how do you use it. And we covered a skill called PRD Maker, where you give a simple one-liner in terms of the feature that you want to build. The demo that I showed was a feature where I wanted to integrate PayPal with CodePup AI's users. And I wrote a simple prompt and it created a wonderful 13-page long PRD for me, along with detailed user sequence diagrams, user flows, analytics tables in terms of what to track, what not to track, business case study, who it is for, user personas, a lot of different things, right? But again, a quick revision of what is a skill. A skill is nothing but a repeatable workflow of what you want to build. Claude has too much of knowledge overall. It's like a huge knowledge base, which is very summarized into a small LLM. It's not small, it's big LLM. When I say small, 200K tokens of context window. Recently, they've expanded to 1 million, which is a good respite. But still, it's still limited to 200K tokens for efficient operation. And it can only do limited stuff within that context window, right? So skill is a way for you to guide and steer the LLM to a definitive path, right? LLMs generally tend to reach the final distillation after you give a lot of prompts, a lot of guidances. So imagine it going in concentric circles before it finally reaches its destination at the center, right? With skills, you can directly draw a radius from outer circumference to the center of the circle, right? So it's the least possible path and obviously least possible tokens and least possible cost to get to where you want to go. In a nutshell, that is all skill is about, right? So let's jump in. I'll share my Claude. Today we are going to see front-end design. We'll create one or two websites using a front-end design skill and see how Claude performs. And you guys can tell me whether it looks better than any AI slop that you have faced or other websites that you have created. All right. Great. Let's jump in. Okay. I hope you guys are able to see my Claude screen. So when you typically do Control O, it opens the entire thinking process. So you can see what Claude is actually doing, right? All right, so it's copying from my Exponent 3 folder to React base. Yes, perfect. That's what we want to do. And these are the skills it is trying to copy, right? Great. So done, copied these skills. Design taste front-end, high-end visual design, and minimalist UI. We'll use a couple of skills. High-end visual design is all about when you go to a big marketing or UI agency, they charge you a bomb, $100K, $200K to create beautiful UI experiences. High-end visual design tries to replicate some of those experiences. Minimalistic UI is something like your Medium or Notion, which has simple monochromatic color patterns, which also look beautiful. So we'll try both the skills today. Let me see if the skills are loaded. Okay, obviously not. So what we'll do now is I just have to reload my Claude and these should show up now. Okay, there you go. See? Project level skills, I've got high-end visual design, design taste front-end, and minimalist UI. And user level skills, these are some skills that I'm using recently. an SEO maker. Feature breakdown is what we have seen last time, which is about the making my PRD. Then there's a blog writer skill. Then there's a Cloud skill that I use to create and deploy functions in Azure, right? But for this session, we'll use only two skills, which is high-end visual design and minimalist UI. Okay. So let's see. Use, I am giving this command explicitly, but typically based on the description, Claude also has the ability to pick the skill on its own, right? So I'm going to say use high-end visual design to create a, let's say, portfolio page. Portfolio page for Rajesh P, who is founder of CodePub AI and has 15 plus years work ex in product management. Okay. Claude also has some memory of my past. I think it will enhance and try to do some additional things. But let's see what it does, right? So I'm just giving a simple command. Use this particular skill, which is high-end visual design, to create a portfolio page for Rajesh, who is founder of CodePub AI and has 15 years work experience in product management, right? And maybe use premium black and green color patterns. Black and green, black, green and white color patterns like Superbase, right? And maybe let's also give a small screenshot of how Superbase looks. Okay. Tudum, tudum. Great, great. So let's go. Okay, great. It loaded the skill. And again, not necessary that you need to mention the skill every time. You just describe the skills properly. Claude has the ability to trigger it automatically if your description is short and crisp. But because I have so many skills here, a lot of design skills around, it's very possible that it will pick a random skill. That's the reason I had to mention explicitly, right? So let's see what Claude is trying to do. Okay, great. It's looking through browsing through my base template. Again, base template I only created because we are limited in time. And I wanted to give a basic scaffolding that Claude can work around with. But again, not mandatory. With couple of commands, Claude can also do the job for you. Only thing is, it's a bit time consuming. Okay. So as you can see, I am currently in accept all mode. This is only to ensure we have fast pace of execution. But I generally don't do this. I generally work on this particular mode where Claude gives me some previews. I go through the previews and I keep accepting them, right? Okay, we got some chat. If there's a design system you want to use instead of snapshot from a third-party website, can you refer link or design system, let's say on Figma or on Storybook? Good question, Nikhil. You can do that. There are a couple of MCPs for Figma, which you can install and then give Claude the access to your link. There are some Playwright skills as well that you can install, which can go to a particular URL and browse the URL, get some details for you. And the other way is obviously taking a couple of screenshots from the website, you dump into Claude. Claude can create a decent enough design system only through screenshots as well. So three different mechanisms. One is have a Figma skill or Figma MCP, have a public URL browser skill like either Firecrawl or browser use or some other skill. And third is have your own Playwright server running in your own application. So three, four possibilities in which you can make this happen. And obviously, if you have your own design system written down somewhere in terms of color palette, fonts, etc., you can directly feed those in. Okay, hope that answers your question, Nikhil. Great. Others, feel free to punch in any questions you have. I'll take the questions on the floor. I think this will anyways take a couple of minutes to run. Okay. Okay, I think it is done. Okay, it's trying to build, but I mean the packages are not installed, so it will not run. So what I'll do is please install first, run npm. This is something that I am aware of, so I give this command, but otherwise Claude itself can figure out after 3 or 4 retries. So what it was trying to do there is I didn't install the package. So without installing the packages, it's trying to look into node modules, trying to figure out how the application runs, which will not work, right? So now it's installing all the dependencies from my package.json of my base template. And I think once it is done, it will try to check if there are any TypeScript errors, and we should be good to go. Okay. Please punch in any questions you have, guys, while we talk. I think I'm sure you'll have a lot of doubts. And don't be scared because I'm showing you a terminal with some coding language going on. Even I don't understand a single line of, maybe I do understand a couple of lines, but it's not mandatory to understand what code is it writing, what every element of this is, what the syntaxes are. But it's good to monitor at a high level to ensure it's going in the right direction, right? And a lot of things you guys are going to learn in our cohort starting tomorrow will gear you up to ensure you have the high level eagle's eye vision in terms of monitoring the agent on the fly. Okay, I think it's done. Let's go here. All right, I think it's done. Let's go. Great. So it went for some of the color patterns I mentioned. Okay, so let's see where it is running. I'll show you the URL. Great. We are on 5175. Okay. It made it look somewhat funky. Um, okay, we can iterate it as well, but looks very different compared to regular AI slog, right? Product thinking. And again, I think this follows the color patterns of black, white, and green that I instructed it to do. I particularly don't like the font. It looks quite different, elegant, but probably I'll tweak it around, play around later, right? It says from player to founder. I don't know what it means, but I'm sure it means from Zynga to CodePub AI. It tried to improvise quite a lot, but that's okay. CodePub AI, Walmart, Flipkart, where I worked, uh, and then yeah. So it also has connect to LinkedIn. Try CodePub AI. All right. This went in because Claude has the memory of what CodePub AI's URLs are. That's defined at claude.md. I'm sure LinkedIn it would have got wrongly. Yeah, there you go. It went to some random dude, which will not work. But look, this is much more different from what you would generate if I had asked Claude to do this without writing any skills, right? Let's try to maybe use the same prompt. I'll pause for a moment. Any questions so far on this particular skill? Yeah, good question, Nikhil. So at my laptop level, I have got a claude.md file. I think there I have defined a couple of lines about myself and my company, which I tend to use quite a lot. So whenever I use some things quite a lot, I tend to save it at claude.md, that is the memory at a laptop level. So it has picked a couple of information from that particular file, right? All right. Any other questions from anyone else before we try a plain vanilla version without the skill? Or maybe just for fun, we can try minimalist skill, right? Okay, so let's go back here. So we were in code one. Let's see, let's go to code two, CD. We'll go to second one. Okay, let me see if I can copy paste the same prompt. Let us first see what are the skills it has. Great. It doesn't have any design skills. And now I will say, ta-dam, create a portfolio page for Rajesh, and I'll also attach the same screenshot so that we are on a level playing field. Okay, let's go. So this is now generating from plain vanilla um, Claude code without using any particular skills as such. It's only using my base template, couple of chat scene components that I already have, and it's trying to create a website on top, right? So let's see what it does. And in the meanwhile, I'll also show you a couple of websites that I created uh, just before coming into the session. All this were created using high-end visual design, right? So this is something that I created. This is running in my local server, as you can see. I said, hey, create a beautiful tech conference landing page for me for AI product managers, right? It came up with this beautiful design where AI meets product thinking. Ta-dum, ta-dum. It has got some schedule going on in terms of what is the itinerary for the next 3 days. All the names of the builders and thinkers we're going to talk about or take some sessions during that period. I can enter my name and join the waitlist, right? So I can join the waitlist, and it has got a FAQ section. So this entire design was created by Claude on its own using the skill, which is the visual design skill, right? And then let me see if I can show you the other one. Okay, I would have killed the process. This is the one that we just created. Yeah, where are we here? Okay, I think this should finish in next 1 minute or so. Okay, I'm sure same problem will come up. Okay, please do npm I first. Okay, as you can see, I mean it was pretty fast because not really fast, but decently fast because I created a basic scaffolding and it has to work around the same scaffolding. But if you had tried it from scratch, it would have taken you double or triple the amount of time, right? And then it would have been stuck in some mistakes which you had to help to get out of there. So uh, anytime you create any project, if you have a basic scaffolding or basic project structure that you know already works or a basic template, starting from that always helps a lot, right? And as we have seen in this session, the skills really enhance the output that it generates, especially the front-end design, as we have seen now. Okay, we'll let it run. We'll see the output from the plain vanilla one without the skill as well, which will give us a good comparative pointer. In the meanwhile, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat section. Happy to take those. Okay. Can do a simpler way. Clear and clear my verbose. Clear and clear random. Oh wow, not bad. There is some refresh error, but hey, this is surprisingly better than the front-end design skill we used, which is good. Nice. But typically, I mean, it worked well in this particular scenario, but 90% of the cases, when you use a skill like a front-end design skill, it typically generates a very, very good output, right? Just like a,
Okay, thank you. I'll take a pause if others have questions, but I don't.
okay, cool. Hey, so I think so. As we have seen, I think there are two ways to create front-end applications on Claude. Either you give the prompts directly and try to generate using Claude Code's native abilities, or you can use a skill like the front-end visual design skill that I've used to create more aesthetically pleasing visual designs, right? So these are some elements that we are going to teach in our cohort, coming up cohort. It's starting on, it's starting from tomorrow. So hope to see a lot of you over there. And if you guys have any questions regarding the cohort that's opening up tomorrow, happy to help you guys, happy to answer some of those questions. Can accessibility WC, oh, that's a good question. Or what's the best way to include best A11Y in front end using skill or integration? Is it possible to, yeah, sure. 1 second. Great, go for it, Nikhil.
Yeah, thanks, Rajesh. So this question is, basically, um, accessibility first development is something which, companies want to do today rather than
Mm-hmm.
fixing on. So, and it's part of what front-end development, is what I understand. So, how do you capture that knowledge that, okay, you're building a front-end application or front-end side of the application,
Mm-hmm.
so that you take care of your ARIA labels or, best practices in
Yeah.
accessibility? And do we create a skill around accessibility, or do we need to give access to the documentation, the VCAC documentation? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question, Nikhil. So look, so this is how the skill looks like, right? So we have used high-end visual design skill just now, and this it's nothing but an instruction set, right? So look at what we are telling here. I mean, your WCAG guidelines and other brand guidelines can also go in here, right? So this is talking about what is the spacing that we should leave, what are the margins that should be used, what are the different font sizes, font colors. If I need animations, what kind of animations, what type of frame or motions, right? These are things which Claude typically makes a lot of mistakes. So some intelligent UX designer has sort of given it a very detailed instruction, right? In the same instruction set, you can also squeeze in your WCAG A++ ratings, your brand guidelines, and lot of instructions over there, so it can pick directly from the skill.
Got it. Thank you. And the reason I asked is because, it's the VCAC documentation, WCAC documentation is like thousands of pages.
Mhm.
Now, can a one-page skill document really reflect that? Is something which is not, I'm not able to digest that. Like, how can a one-page skill document really reflect that?
Oh, that's a good question. So let me show you. There's a gamma. Okay. So I think I don't know if you have been in the last session, but we discussed about PRD Maker, where I think we discussed about this structure. 1 second, let me go there. Yeah. So a typical, this is how a typical skill is structured, right? You got the skill.md file, which is a single file. Then you can also include lot of reference files, right? Okay, what are the brand guides? What are the examples? What are the reference documents? Uh, and these can, like you can add lot of files here, lot of .md files over there, instruction sets, and lot of examples so that Claude can follow to the T, right? I don't know. I personally haven't added 1,000+ sheets or lines. I mean, lines definitely. 1,000+ pages of instructions I have not tried. But for the PRD maker, we had 4 different folders for each and every section. Like analytics section had one big example document, which it had to follow. Brand guidelines was one big document. Then your sequence diagrams was one big document with a lot of examples. So it always follows the same structure, right? So you can always give multiple files, and Claude will open and load each of them contextually. It does a good job at that. I'm still not sure about what are the upper limits or upper caps, but I have definitely tried with 10 to 20 different files for the same skill.